California stands at the heart of America's gun control debate, a state where the conversation around firearms is as heated and complex as anywhere in the nation. With its vast population and diverse communities, California often sets the tone for national policy discussions. It's known for having the nation's strictest firearm laws, with regulations that go further than most other states. Now, a significant update to California's handgun laws, specifically targeting popular models like Glocks, has made legal purchases even more challenging for residents and retailers alike. The state's Unsafe Handgun Act roster now excludes most modern handguns, creating widespread confusion and mounting frustration for both gun owners and businesses trying to navigate the new rules. Many Californians are left wondering, can I keep my current gun under these new restrictions? And what about buying a new one for self-defense or sport? The uncertainty is real for thousands across the state. These new rules don't just affect future purchases, they're reshaping the entire landscape for everyone involved, from longtime collectors to first-time buyers. In this episode, we'll break down exactly what's changed, who's most impacted, and the real-world consequences that are already starting to emerge in communities across California. To truly understand the impact, we need to look at the law's evolution, the legal battles it sparked, and hear directly from those living with its effects every day. This story is about more than just guns. It's about people, politics, and the ongoing struggle to balance public safety with individual freedom. Join us as we dive into the heart of California's new chapter. California's so-called Glock ban traces its roots back to the 2001 Unsafe Handgun Act, a law that fundamentally changed the state's relationship with handguns. This legislation created what's known as the roster, a list of handguns that are approved for sale in California, based on strict safety and design criteria. In the early days, many of the most popular handguns, including a wide range of Glock models, were included on the roster, giving Californians access to the same firearms available in most other states. However, over time, lawmakers kept adding new requirements. In 2007, for example, a magazine disconnect safety was mandated, meaning handguns had to be redesigned to comply. Then, in 2013, California took things a step further by requiring all new semi-automatic handguns to feature micro-stamping technology, a unique marking system intended to help law enforcement trace spent casings. But no major manufacturer has been able to meet the micro-stamping requirement, so no new handgun models have been added to the roster in years, leaving the list frozen in time. As older models are discontinued by manufacturers or updated with new features, they're automatically removed from the roster, further shrinking the pool of legal options. The result is a shrinking, increasingly outdated list of handguns that are legal to buy, many of which are no longer even manufactured. Californians are left with fewer and fewer choices, unable to purchase the most modern, reliable, and popular handguns found elsewhere in the country. The effect of the law is a slow-motion ban, restricting access to new handguns, without ever passing a law that explicitly bans them. This is how California's landscape for handgun buyers became so restrictive, step by step, over the past 2 decades. The evolution of the roster has directly shaped the current crisis, leaving many to wonder what the future holds for legal handgun ownership in California. The latest update makes things even stricter. Now, for every new handgun added to the roster, 3 older models must be removed. But since no new handguns meet the micro-stamping rule, nothing gets added, only removed. The message is clear. The list will keep shrinking until almost nothing remains. Gun buyers now face a market of outdated options, with popular models like Glock Gen 3 on borrowed time. Critics call this a ban in all but name, systematically eliminating legal choices. The law's complexity leaves many residents frustrated, struggling to exercise their rights. California's approach is pushing legal handgun ownership to the brink. These rules hit real people hard. Maria, a single mom, wanted a modern Glock for protection, only to find it's illegal to buy. She's left with outdated, uncomfortable options. Gun shop owners like David see empty shelves and declining sales, forced to explain the roster to frustrated customers. He worries his business may not survive. Police are exempt from the roster, able to buy off-roster handguns that civilians can't. This double standard frustrates both officers and citizens. Why can police have better tools for self-defense? Some officers believe law-abiding citizens should have access to the same reliable firearms. The law creates confusion, resentment, and a sense of unfairness. For many, it's not just about guns, it's about equal rights and public safety. The impact is personal and profound. Strict laws have fueled a booming secondary market. Private party transfers allow citizens to legally buy off-roster handguns from each other, often at double or triple the price. Most of these guns come from police officers, who can buy off-roster models and resell them for profit. New residents moving in with off-roster guns also feed the market. The result: inflated prices and limited access, where only the wealthy can afford modern handguns. Critics say the law creates a system of haves and have-nots. Supporters argue that high prices and scarcity reduce the number of guns in circulation. Either way, the market is shaped by regulation, not demand. The unintended consequences are clear. The debate is deeply polarized. Supporters say the roster's safety features, like micro-stamping, save lives and help solve crimes. They point to California's lower gun violence rates as proof the laws work. For them, public safety outweighs inconvenience to buyers. Opponents see the roster as an unconstitutional infringement on the Second Amendment. They argue the safety features are unworkable, and the law is a backdoor ban on modern handguns. Critics say criminals ignore these laws, while law-abiding citizens are punished. The most popular, reliable handguns are off-limits to those who need them most. For supporters, it's about safety. For critics, it's about rights. The divide is as wide as ever. The future of California's handgun laws is now hanging in the balance, and the ultimate decision will be made in courtrooms across the state and possibly the nation. Legal challenges are mounting, with critics arguing that the state's handgun roster is unconstitutional, especially in light of the Supreme Court's recent Bruin decision, which set a new standard for evaluating gun laws. Some lower courts have already struck down parts of the law, but the legal process is far from over, as appeals continue to move through higher courts and new lawsuits are filed. The final outcome could be sweeping, potentially striking down the roster entirely, changing its requirements, or upholding it as is. Each path would have major consequences for gun owners and dealers. In the meantime, the list of approved handguns keeps shrinking, prices remain high, and frustration among both buyers and sellers continues to grow as options dwindle. Supporters in the legislature defend the roster as a vital public safety measure, while opponents argue it's an unfair attack on Second Amendment rights, fueling heated debates and protests. The legal battle is far from over, and every new court decision adds another twist to the ongoing fight over gun rights in California. California's so-called Glock ban isn't a true ban, but a complex web of regulations that make it nearly impossible for most people to buy the latest, safest handguns on the market. The controversial 3-for-1 rule has only made things worse, creating a system where access to new handguns often depends on wealth, connections, or sheer luck, leaving many ordinary Californians out. Ultimately, the courts will decide whether California continues down this restrictive path, or if a new era of change and expanded access is on the horizon. For now, the next chapter in California's handgun story is still being written, and its outcome will shape the future for millions of residents.